Today I want to share the principles of how I brainwashed myself to make millions of dollars and transform from a struggling entrepreneur to generate over $50 million a year in less than 4 years. My name is Matt Orlic, I'm a 9-time founder, and currently I'm building Cure Skincare. It's a D2C skincare company that went from $0 to $50 million a year in 30 years alone. Over the past 17 years, I've built and scaled multiple businesses and generated over $300 million in sales. But it wasn't always this way. I had to actually reprogram my mind and overcome all these limiting beliefs I had and design a complete new way of thinking to create this life that I always dreamt of. So in this video, I want to share with you guys the exact concepts, the mindset shifts, the habits, and the principles that allowed me to rewire my brain for success. Principle number 1, you are the creator of your own reality. I know, it might sound like one of these woo-woo ideas, but stick with me here because it's not. It's actually incredibly practical, and it's the foundational principle behind everything I'm about to share. This is how reality creation works. First, we receive information from the outside world via 5 different senses, and then we interpret that information, creating beliefs. We then create thoughts, actions, which then forms our reality, as you can see on the screen here. Your reality, the life you're living right now, is a reflection of your inner world. Just think about it. Your thoughts, your beliefs, and your focus shape your actions, and your actions create your outcomes. So if you want to change your reality, you need to start with what's happening inside of your mind. You have to address the root cause. So there's 2 practical ways that you can do this in the most simplest form. The first one is you can filter your information, because the information that you consume and the people that you surround yourself with shapes your beliefs. And if you're consistently and constantly exposed to negativity, it's going to be nearly impossible to maintain a positive and successful oriented mindset. So the first step is to cut anything that doesn't serve your goals, and that includes people. For me, it meant eliminating toxic influences, whether it was like negative news, unproductive social media scrolling, it was certain relationships that I had. Instead, I had to immerse myself in environments with people who inspired me and aligned with the life that I wanted to create, so I would install their belief systems along the way. So think of it this way, it's easy to avoid the dragon than to slay it. By proactively choosing what you let into your mind, you're stacking the odds in your favor. Every other information that you let into your mind, it doesn't really help you achieve your goals. It's just distraction, and it'll create other belief systems that will push you further away from your goals. And the second is to leverage visualization, because there's something incredible that your brain can't distinguish between something you've actually vividly imagined and something that's actually happened. So this is also a form of information. This is where visualization comes to play. You create vision boards with images and quotes that represent the life that you want to live. Then I make sure that I see them multiple times during the day as I put them on my screensavers on my phone, my desktop as my background on my computer. And this constant reinforcement keeps me top of mind in terms of my goals, and it's always moving me forward towards them. Principle number 2, we experience what we focus on. Here's the truth that changed everything for me. You don't experience life as it is. You experience life based on what you actually focus on. And most people get this wrong. They focus on things they can't control, like the news or politics. They focus on what they're lacking, what they're missing, instead of what they actually have. And they focus on the past instead of focusing on the present. That sound familiar to you guys? Because when you focus on what you can't control or what you're missing, you create a negative frequency and aura around you, which repels success. And when you're stuck in this cycle of frustration and doubt. Does that sound familiar? When you focus on what you can't control or what's missing, you create this negative frequency field around you that repels success. And then you're stuck in a cycle of frustration and doubt. So to break free, you need to ask yourself these 3 simple questions every single day. Am I focusing on what I can control, like my daily actions, my daily habits? Am I focusing on what I have instead of what I'm missing? I'm being grateful for my current situation. Number 3, am I focusing on the present or dwelling on the past or potentially the future? These questions are like a mental reset button that help you shift your focus to the things that actually matter and then move you forward. Principle number 3, stories are the operating system of the mind. So let me share a personal story. When I was 25 years old, I lost $5 million literally overnight. When a client of mine, it was a $1 billion retailer, went bankrupt. It was obviously devastating, and first I blamed the economy, bad luck, anything but myself. But eventually I realized something. The story I was telling myself about the situation was keeping me stuck. And here's the thing. You can't always control what you see or happens to you, but you can control what you look at. And here's the thing, you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control the story you tell yourself about it. And that story will actually determine whether you see the situation as a failure or a stepping stone towards your success. So I began thinking of ways to create a story which actually propel me forward. And I started researching the past ultra successful entrepreneurs who had big setbacks and came back from them. And I came to find a lot of them, or pretty much all of them, at one point had a major loss, and this was mine. So my energy immediately started to change when I started telling myself that this had to happen for me to be ultra successful. I'm so glad it happened during this early stage of my life. Now I know that I'll be ultra successful because I have this massive setback. This is just a big piece of debt. that I need to pay off for the success I had to have. So start finding ways to rewrite your narrative in a way that empowers you instead of seeing setbacks and obstacles. View them as lessons and opportunities to grow. Principle number 4 is that your beliefs shape your identity. Now, your beliefs are the foundation of your identity. They shape how you see yourself and the world around you. Think about it. If you believe you're disciplined and capable, you'll act in accordance to that. But if you believe that you're bad with money or you're destined to fail, then those beliefs will actually hold you back. So to change your identity, start by identifying your core beliefs. And there's 2 different types that you need to address. The first one is your limiting beliefs. Now, these are thoughts that tell you that you're not good enough or you're not capable. They're internalized. They're about your internal self. The second are competing beliefs. These are conflicting ideas that create inner tension about something external that you want to bring to your life, like rich people are evil or rich people are depressed, as an example. Now, the steps to take in order to break these beliefs and create new empowering ones is as follows. The first step is you write down any belief that you have that's stopping you from being successful. The second is you ask yourself, what tangible evidence do I have this belief to be true? The third thing is, when did I actually adopt this belief? Can we pinpoint down a specific time or experience? And the fourth thing is, what needs to happen for this belief not to be true anymore? And if you want help mapping and rewriting a belief, send me a direct message on Instagram with the word beliefs. It's Matt Orlic at Instagram. And I'll send you like this free SOP that I use and that I use to start on my journey that has a lot more detail in the process to help you break through these limiting beliefs and create new ones. Principle number 5, rewrite your money blueprint. So let's talk about money. Your money blueprint is your subconscious programming. It's about your wealth. It's shaped by what you heard, what you saw, what you experienced growing up. And for an example, if you were told that money doesn't grow on trees, you might believe that wealth is hard to come by. A lot of us are operating based on money blueprints we have installed from our parents without even knowing. And what changed my life was when I changed my money blueprint. At the age 18, I decided I wanted to make $200,000 a year, working only 3 days a week by the age 25. And that's such a strange goal to have. When I think back why I had it, I realized it's because I molded a belief after my mentor I had at the time, who had already done this, and that was his reality. So that became my money blueprint. I removed the one from my parents of working a 9 to 5 and 30-year mortgage, and I stole my mentor's money blueprint. And I walked towards making that possible by surrounding myself with books, mentors, and environments that supported that new money blueprint. And guess what? It worked. So to change your financial reality, you need to rewrite your money blueprint by replacing limiting beliefs and empowering with new ones. So start by asking yourself, what is my money blueprint and where did I actually get it from? The next principle, radical responsibility. Now, here's the harsh truth. You can't change your life until you take full responsibility for it. When I lost $5 million, it was easy to blame the external factors, but in reality, that made me powerless if I did that. So taking radical responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means everything is your opportunity to learn and grow. And once you own that, you reclaim this power back so you can create that change. Otherwise, you just outsource the authority and your potential is an external source which doesn't benefit you at all. So whether it's right or wrong to always blame yourself, it doesn't matter at all. What matters is what will actually make you better. The world runs on energy, vibration, and frequency. Now, this is one of the biggest breakthroughs in my journey, was understanding how energy, vibration, and frequency impacts everything in our lives. It's not just a metaphor, it's literally physics. And here's what I mean. Everything you think, you feel, you do emits a certain frequency, and that frequency, which is energy, either attracts or repels the outcomes you're seeking. And when I was in a negative or stressed state, I was attracting more problems and more setbacks. When I started operating from more of a place of gratitude, positivity, abundance, my life began to shift because frequency outweighs effort. And here's a crucial piece that most people overlook. Your private relationship with money actually determines your public success with it. Let me explain. If in private, you constantly worry about money, telling yourself things like, I will never have enough, I'm terrible with finance, you're counting every single dollar, the stuff you're paying for, that energy radiates and impacts how much money flows to you. I used to live in scarcity mindset, constantly checking my bank account and feeling stressed about expenses. And that energy created more financial struggles. The shift happened when I started treating money differently in private. I began, practicing gratitude about it. I didn't worry about every single dollar I had. No matter how small, I started shouting other people for their food or whatever, little things, giving money more freely, donating to charity without worrying about all the dollars coming in. I stopped focusing on what I lacked and started focusing on abundance. And this private shift creating public transformation like I never expected. Clients came easier, opportunities flowed in, and financial success became just inevitable for me. And raising your frequency is also about the emotions that you generate. And Dr. David Hawkins has this vibrational chart that shows what emotions correlate to what frequency. And And you can start emitting a higher frequency with one simple yet profound practice: keeping the promises you make to yourself. Because every time you follow through on something, whether it's waking up early, hitting the gym, completing a task that's hard to do, you build self-trust, and this creates self-love. And love is the highest frequency on the chart. It's a frequency that aligns with your best version of yourself and attracts that abundance into your life and success into your life. For example, there was a time when I struggled to maintain consistency with my habits. I'd set big goals and often shortfall them because I break the small commitments that I had to myself. And it wasn't until I started actually treating those small commitments as non-negotiables that things started to change. I started waking up at 5 a.m., journaling, working out, then became rituals that anchored each day. And each time I kept those promises I make to myself, I felt stronger, more aligned, more confident, which then aligned to a higher vibrational frequency. Because self-love isn't just a feel-good concept, it's the foundation for success. When you love and trust yourself, you operate from that high frequency, making it easier to attract opportunities, build relationships, and achieve your goals. So remember, the energy you emit is what you attract. Focus on the who, not the how. Now here's a game changer. Instead of obsessing on how to achieve your goals, focus on who you need to be to achieve them. Let me share a personal example. When I was scaling one of my businesses, I kept getting stuck in the weeds, trying to figure out every single strategy, like every single detail, every single growth aspect, optimizing operations, leading the team. It was just overwhelming. Then I had a mentor that said to me, Matt, stop focusing on the how, focus on the who. You need to become the person who can lead a $100 million company. And that kind of changed everything for me because I realized I need to turn pro. I need to start treating myself like a professional athlete would. I need to start thinking about my nutrition, my sleep, my ability to focus, my training schedule, mindset training. So I started to incorporate everything to become a better leader, better, clearer communicator, someone who could inspire and align a team. So I invested in coaching to myself. I started reading books on personal development. I started treating my personal growth like a full-time job. And as I grew, that's how the business started to grow and everything fall into place naturally. So treat yourself like a professional athlete. Invest in your health, your mindset, your skills. Work with coaches, build habits that align with your highest potential. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, the how takes care of itself. Detach from the outcome. I used to fixate on specific numbers and goals. For example, like when I first set the goal of having a worth of $100 million, I was obsessed with hitting that target. And the more I focused on the number, the more frustrated I came because I was consistently comparing my current reality to my future reality and my goal, which made me feel like I was falling short. And the problem with that is that it generates emotions that lowers your frequency and your aura, which then detracts from actually becoming successful in the first place. Because you begin to operate from a place of lack, not abundance, when you're comparing yourself to the outcome. And that's why it's important to detach yourself from the outcome. And one day I decided to shift my focus. Instead of obsessing on the outcome, I asked myself, what are the daily actions that will naturally lead me to that end result? And I focused on building a world-class product, exceptional, customer experiences, empowering my team, and detaching from the outcome and committing just to the process of being that person that can create the $100 million goal. And by just focusing on that, that's a byproduct of the work that we're actually doing. So detach from the outcome and trust the process. Focus on the process alone. When you focus on the inputs, those outputs will naturally take care of themselves. Fear regret more than failure. Now, one of the biggest mindset shifts I made was learning to fear regret a lot more than failure. Because for years I avoided taking risks because I was afraid of failing for so long. But then I asked myself, what if I didn't even try? Like, what if I just missed out on life that I actually could have had by not trying? And that thought terrified me more than any failure could ever. Because failure is temporary, it teaches you something, it helps you grow and build resilience. But regret, that sticks with you forever. And I remember one specific opportunity where I hesitated. I had the chance to partner with someone who could have elevated my business, but I was just scared of the financial risk involved. Thankfully, I pushed through, and that fear, that leap that I took turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made. The regret of not trying would have just been far worse than risk of failure. And I remember asking my grandparents what's one thing they regret in life, and it was that of taking risks and betting on themselves. So when you start choosing courage over comfort, you unlock this true potential every step forward. No matter how small it is, it's just a step away from the pain of regret and towards the life you actually deserve. Standards over goals. This one is probably my favorite because it led to me leveling up the most. We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to level our standards. But let me explain. I want you to imagine you have a ceiling and a floor. And on your worst day, what's your floor? Do you skip the gym? Do you only do 1 hour of focused work? Do you binge eat junk food or procrastinate? Or do you stick to simple positive habits like reading pages or eating a healthy meal or training? Your job is to raise your floor, not to raise your ceiling. Because in life, you get out of it what's based on your worst self, not your best self. So you want to set a set of daily non-negotiables that ensure that even on your worst days, you are moving forward. And over time, this raises your standards and transforms your life. And this is across all areas of your life. As an example, say fitness, easiest way to explain it. Your floor might be on the worst week, you'll train twice a week. And on the best week, you train 7 times a week. And your job isn't to keep striving for 7 days a week. Your job is to raise the floor, your minimum standard, to 4, to 5, and all of a sudden your minimum standard is you don't miss a workout ever. You see what I mean by this? So if you apply this thinking to all parts of your life, then you will make huge progress as you'll become effortless in the way your standards will grow, because it will create a new identity over all parts of your life. So focus on raising the floor. And for me, this meant by refining my floor behaviors. Even my busiest days, I committed to exercising for at least 45 minutes, eating clean meals, reading 10 pages, and these small actions repeated consistently create new identities, compounding to massive results over time. So what are the floors that you want to raise in your life? What are the new standards you want to create to ultimately create the best version of yourself? This is how I reprogram my mind to achieve the success that I always dreamt of, and you can do it too. It's fairly simple. Remember, success starts with you, the person you need to become, not just what you want to achieve. Now, if you want to learn my last 17 years of business lessons in just 16 minutes, then click the link below in the description.